All right, guys, welcome back to the bonus edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast, Monday, September 26, 2022. If you guys missed the first episode today, we already broke down UFC Vegas 61. Usually we do the second one, but because there was no UFC to recap, we just did the other way around. Now we're going to do a second podcast here. We're going to talk about some UFC news and fight announcements. We're going to recap Contender Series and recap Bellator 285. So whatever you guys want, any questions about some fights coming up, you can answer, ask them here. All right, Marcel, let's recap Dana White's Contender Series first. I think that's a good place to start because we didn't get a chance to talk about it in the last show. Again, Marcel, I mean, Dana White.
Can I put it on screen?
Yeah, I can. And you know, the guy just, Marcel, he's like Santa Claus handing out, contracts like their presidents, at this point. I mean, he's pretty much signing everyone at this point, which. You know, he said a few weeks ago, he's like, someone asked him, like, does that mean you're going to cut more guys? He said no, but I feel like they have to cut more people. Like, there's no way they can have, like, 1,000 fighters under contract. That being said, I think all these guys deserve the contract, right? Like, 100%, you know? I feel like they're all good. Let me give my thoughts, and I'll listen to you, okay? So, the first fight was a great fight. Both guys were very well matched, and then the guy got a crazy knockout in the third round. Jafel Filo. I like this guy. I think he's very good. That was a great knockout. The second fight, did I not fucking call this guy getting the finish? I told you, Marcel, you would finish this fight. I told you Wick looked soft on the scale. Everyone kept saying, Wick's never been finished. Guys, Aliyev is legit. He's like good. He's probably going to fight for the belt in the UFC one day, Marcel. I really think so. This guy's super legit. He destroyed him. The under was plus money. Crazy. Easy fight. Austin Lane against Clint McLean in the Die Hard MMA podcast. No, I'm kidding. Richard Jacoby. Listen, dude, like that nut shot was so brutal, Marcel.
Yeah, it's nasty.
It was bad, you know, and it happens, right? But man, it just makes you wonder, like, how impacted the guy was. But Austin Lane gets a nice knockout win. I figured he'd win too, and I'm glad they got him in the UFC because I think he's an exciting guy and he's improved, right? He's improved since he fought Greg Hardy. Paul Rosas, sorry, I can't say Paul. Raul.
You tweeted that as well.
I know I did, and I deleted the tweet after. I was like, shit. I'm like, it's just, I don't know. It was a brain fart. Raul Rosas Jr. And now I got the other stupid name in my head, but I did delete the tweet because I noticed it. I'm like, oh shit, I spelled his name wrong. That's not the thing you want to do. It's a completely different name. Raul Rosas Jr. against Mano Gutierrez. He looked great. It was a good fight and gets signed. He's 17 years old. He's going to turn 18 next week. He's very good. And then Bruno Ferreira with that crazy knockout over Leandro Lube, which I think was the easy one to predict. Now I'll hear your thoughts, but I for my money, Marcel, I think they're all going to be good additions to the roster. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, man. I mean, you pretty much said it all. I mean, I was really. I think Aliyev looked really good. You know, they should stop calling him Aliyev. It's Aliyev. You have to put a Y actually in between the I and the E. It's for pronunciation.
Any relation to Sultan Aliyev?
No, I don't think so. He's from Tajikistan, right? And Sultan is from Russia.
Yeah.
You got Austin Lane, who came back after 4 years, right? After getting knocked out by Greg Hardy, getting a knockout himself or a TKO. Good win. Raul Rosas Jr. almost got the Suluev stretch in the first round. Really good on the ground, man, for a guy who's only 17 years old. I understand that the UFC signed him. I think it would have been stupid not to. Maybe people were saying like the developmental deal, but in my opinion, if you give a guy with the 17 years of age, give a chance in the Contender Series, he should be able to win a contract. You know what I mean? So you should look at the way he fought, and I think he fought really well against Mando Gutierrez. Bruno Ferreira, good knockout. I was happy he did it because I was very tired already, and it was already pretty late, and I still had to write something. So good win for him, and 5 good contracts in my opinion. I mean, week 9. Let's hope we have a great week 10 as well, the last event of this year for Contender Series, and I really liked what I saw.
It was a really good card last. I think it was one of the better cards, to be honest with you. The whole season's been great. Like, it's been awesome.
The first episode.
Yeah, the first one, which was garbage, but then be like Joe Pyfer. All right, let's go to Bellator 285 because that was another card that I want to talk about. I'll get the questions right now because I know some people have some questions.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
Glenn, what's up? There's only a few people in this chat anyways. Probably just you two and me and Marcel. That's probably it. I completely agree with you. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would Bellator is stupid? Like, last week they could have went solo on Saturday, and this week they could have went Friday. Like, I don't understand it, Marcel. I don't get it.
I said it as well to the guy in Santiago where I have the Bellator Zone podcast with. I was like, dude, I don't understand why they should have done this last week. They should do this often when the UFC does have an event. Do yourself an event, and they should have put it on a Saturday. You know what I mean? But they didn't, and now UFC's on Saturday. They do it as well on Saturday. You know?
They should. This card should be on Saturday, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this comment before we get into Bellator. What's up, Antoine? You guys think about the new Figueiredo Moreno 4? Yeah, I saw that. Would be the main event. I don't think so. I think it'll be co-main, in my opinion.
It's in the works. I feel like they I mean, the Yuri Prohaska Glover Teixeira fight's still not done for December, so maybe they're putting that in January,
right?
Which I would love to see as well.
In Brazil,
why not? You know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think the card will be loaded with like some of the best Brazilians in the world. Amanda Nunes, it'd be nice to see her in the fight in that card, but I mean, Kaylin Vieira makes sense, right? 2 Brazilian girls. That would be the fight, I think.
But that shouldn't be the main event.
Nope. It should be like a third title fight, if anything.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they really stack that card. All right, let's just go through Bellator quickly, Marcel, from last week. Bellator 285. Some good fights, some interesting fights, some weird fights. I'm gonna get your thoughts on a couple of them. I actually did watch this card. I was home and it was on like really early in the day, so it was good. I want to give this guy a show. Luca Nader choke. I mean, I've never seen that before. I think it's the first time ever, right? Like, when I saw that, like, I was like, wow, what the hell did he just hit? I was very impressed. What do you think?
Me too, and I think the ref was as well because I think Shearer was out for like 20 seconds already.
I think so too.
So
what a submission! I mean, Jesus,
amazing. Yeah, you always love to see like those crazy submissions you don't expect, right? So really,
that's a good win. I think Shearer was not bad. Like I said, last week, the fight with Storley was like razor thin, right? And Storley's the champ now, so that's a solid win for this guy. This guy had a nice knockout. Azel Jude. Kenny Makahona, he's also good. Marcel, nice prospect here, 4-0. K Musa, that was an upset, Marcel. He actually looked really good against Georgi Karakanyan. Dara Kelly, he got the win here, basically grinding this guy with the wrestling. Definitely a good wrestler, but not the most exciting fight. Brett Johnson's fight was very boring. I got to be honest with you, Marcel. I thought this fight was a complete snooze fest. Like, this Jordan I'm gonna Winsky guy was cornered by Sam Alvey, and as soon as I saw Sam walk out with him, I'm like, there's no way this guy wins the fight. No, I'm kidding. Brett Johnson's gonna win. Brian Moore looked pretty good. He wants to headline the next card. I mean, they can't headline with this guy, right? Like, there's no way, right? Like, no one knows who this dude is. Like, he looked good though. I mean, in Ireland they know who he is. I say that, but like, he'll be on the preliminary card or whatever.
Yeah.
Same with Carl Moore. He had a huge upset here against Carl Albrechtsen.
Super surprised with that. Yeah.
Holy fuck! Like, I was watching this fight and Albrechtsen. I thought he finished the fight at the end of the first round with that elbow in the graviton. A lot of people thought that the fight should have stopped. I think it's fine that it went on, honestly. Like, what do you think?
Albrechtsen looks like Todd Duffy with a wig.
Yeah.
I mean,
his hair is
really
ridiculous.
Looks like Todd Duffy.
I thought Moore looked good, man. Like, for a guy who was off for 3 years, like, aside from the elbow dropping, he looked good in this fight. And he probably was the better fighter, and the odds were way off because he was like plus 401. So it was nice. Kieran Clark against Rafael Hudson. Marcel, I don't know if you looked at the scorecards. He was actually losing 2-0 on 2 of the 3 scorecards. So he actually needed to finish the fight, and he did. That could have been a massive upset had this Hudson guy won. I thought Hudson looked good in the first round, especially, but then his gas kind of wore off as the fight went on. When I told Anita Pedro Carvalho won, she was shocked. Like, she couldn't believe it. Like,
I couldn't believe it.
I can't believe he won this fight. I got to be honest. I think Burnell is very good, and I might be wrong about the guy. I mean, I'm just shocked that he won. I guess it was a bad matchup, right? Like, a guy who could kind of like outwork him a little bit and stuff the takedowns, right? What are you gonna say?
I mean, look at the first round. He was dominating him with the grappling, but for some reason, and he had 5, 6, 7 times the chance, he didn't put a second hook in.
Yeah,
I don't know why he didn't do that. Did he want to get a twister or something? I don't know.
Maybe,
but it was really weird. And Carvalho could get out of it, and he was playing with Carvalho for 1.5 rounds. At a certain moment, Burnell was gassed. And Carvalho took over. I still think he definitely won the first round. The second round was 50-50. Third round was clearly for Carvalho. Yeah. So it could have gone both ways, in my opinion. But I don't mind Carvalho winning here because his third round was so dominating, But really bad showing for Burnell, in my opinion, here, man. I thought he would steamroll Carvalho. And he didn't do that at all. I had the feeling like, I think he underestimated him and he wanted to play with him a little bit on the ground and he gassed himself out or something, It was just, he should have never lost to Carvalho, in my opinion,
One of the judges gave all 3 rounds to Pedro. What do you think of
Crazy,
that?
crazy.
That's insane, right?
And that's the same judge
Well,
that gave 30-27 to Liam McCourt,
I was
the
about to
Eric
say,
Cologne dude.
2 guys, it's 2 judges. I don't know if they're 2 guys. Let me double check. Eric Cologne, who's like a judge we've seen around, and then Brian Miner also. I mean, these are experienced judges. This fight was like I mean, I really disagree with these scorecards. First
Me
off,
too.
I watched the fight very closely. I was in the chat. I was talking to James's Patreon that day, and some guy. True, I think you're in the chat here too. I don't know if you're listening to this one, but
yeah,
you said I need a bigger TV, bro. I mean, I think my TV is big enough size. I looked on Twitter after the fight just to see what other people said. Everyone said there was a horrible scorecards. Like everyone was saying, like I guess you could give 2 rounds maybe to her, but I thought Diana still won the second and third round. It came down to the second round, in my opinion. I think that was the swing round. I mean, I'm not saying it was a robbery, Marcel. I can't say that because it was like close enough where
it's a typical favorable
hometown
scorecard for a hometown girl. Yeah,
30-27 just feels like predetermined, though, right? That's garbage.
Just bad, and it's not
Terrible.
the first time,
I
remember the Liam McCourt Manon Fiorot fight. So, and Diana Silva against Julia Butt.
Dude, I mean, she's 10-8, but like, how many losses are like
a lot of splits as well? A majority
splits, majority decisions. Like this was unanimous, but could have been split. Should have been. I think she won. I mean, again, it was close enough where like I wouldn't say like robbery, but I was like I was paying attention to the live betting odds during this fight. I didn't know. Someone told me last week that they have them for Bellator on FanDuel, not on DraftKings, right? Because they usually use DraftKings. So I'm looking at FanDuel and like I'm watching the fight. And I'm like, all right, this fight's really close, and like the odds kept going up for McCourt. I'm like, what the fuck? What am I missing here? But apparently, I was missing something. I will say this, Marcel. Like sometimes when you're sitting cage side compared to TV, there's different angles and you can hear things differently and see things differently. So I get that there's always that room for error, but like, man, I really thought that the other girl had edged it out. When I heard 30-27, I'm like, oh, okay, Silva won. I was shocked McCourt got the 30-27 times 2. Very surprising in my opinion. Romero knocks out Manhu, if I mean no surprise there. Third round stoppage by knockout was plus 800 though. So if you bet on that, you did well. And then Benson Henderson
can't go so quick, dude. Manhu retired. I gotta go.
I'm gonna get you the chance to talk after this. Let me just go through the last fight.
Okay.
Benson Henderson. This fight was very boring in my opinion. I mean, he did what he had to do, but it was not fun to watch. And I'm assuming half the fans left the crowd in the arena earlier than that. Now, Marcel, go ahead. You can talk about all the fights if you want. I just wanted to get my thoughts quickly. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, Romero against Manov. Listen, man, I said from the beginning this wasn't a good idea. Manov, he said it was his last fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Inside the octagon, I want to say, inside the Bellator cage. Never stood a chance, in my opinion, in the fight. Romero was in the lead. You remember the first leg kick he gave him, Manov almost dropped on his head. Romero, when he got him to the ground, he controlled him there. And he knocked him out with elbow strikes. Manov is a pioneer in the Netherlands. For many people, a legend in the Netherlands. He's been a pro since 1995. He has done kickboxing. He's done MMA. He got some great knockouts on his resume, man. Sakuraba, Mark Hunt. I mean, he beat Evangelista Cyborg Santos for the Cage Rage title back in a couple of years ago. I think more than 10 years ago. He's always been a fun fighter. He's a typical guy who comes to strike and to try to knock your head off. Remember the fight with Robbie Lawler where he pretty much almost destroyed his legs and then he got knocked out by one punch by Robbie Lawler. Mm-hmm. He's an entertaining fighter, 32 wins, 29 knockouts, never got a submission win because he's just not a good ground fighter. He's always going for the kill. Just a pioneer for Dutch MMA, and I'm sad to see him going out like this. But he wanted a good fight, a good opponent to stop here. I still think, man, if Bellator comes to the Netherlands within 1 or 2 years, he still goes to fight for them. His last fight in the Netherlands. That's what I think. But for now, it's over, and a lot of respect for him. And for Romero, who kind of took a book out of DMX's thing after the fight, barking in the camera. Good win for him, man. Looking forward what's next for him. He said he wants to go back to 185. I don't think that's a good idea, but we'll see. And main event. Yeah, but what did we expect, right? Benson, listen, man, nothing against Peter Creeley. He's an okay fighter. Benson Henderson has still that world-class thing in him. He's so much more. He's a veteran. I think his his complete game is better than Peter Queally, and he showed that. He knew he had to win decisively to get a win here, and he did. He actually also got a point deducted, right? So with a cup shot or a dick shot, or how do you say that?
Oh yeah, the second round that was brutal, and like Kevin McDonald, the ref, he said he's not the same fighter. I kind of agree with him. It was brutal, like. And a lot of people on Twitter are like, no, like, how do you take a point? Like, guys, we all know the rules. Like, you're not supposed to kick someone. And I know it's accident, but like,
it should be more consistent.
I agree with that.
That's the only thing that's why fans are upset about it, because the one ref does it and the other doesn't. They should do it anytime.
I feel like they've been taking them more lately, though, right? Like that Dennis Tululin fight a few weeks ago. Like maybe they've been told, like, you guys got to start enforcing these because how many fights have you seen where a guy gets like 3 nasty groin shots and then they're like, okay, we're warning you, like a hard warning. Like, what the fuck is that? Your boy Chris Ione, a hard warning. Like,
Chris Ione should get a hard warning. But
we get some comments, guys. Antoine has comment about 282 headliner. I just heard it was Glover and Yuri, but now
that's what
saying maybe 283. He's saying December.
It's either 282 or 283. It's both possible.
Right.
Yuri said it's December or January.
John says the Lucanator. I love it. I mean, like I said, I've never seen that. It's like the Von Flue truck, right? It's named after the guy, so that's fucking awesome.
Do you think it should? I don't think so. But do you think it should have been Von Prue? I think it should be Von
Prue. It makes a lot of sense, right? I hate they pay. I agree, Glenn. They fly in bad judges, must be money changing hands, and keep getting the job. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to come on here and say that judges are being paid, but like sometimes you makes you scratch your head. But like that's in every sport, though. Like. You watch football, right? Like I'm sure there's some referees where you're like, "Oh, that team must have paid the guy off or something." Like,
Adam,
you think? Go ahead.
Fucking fly me in. You have to pay for 2 seats in the plane. I know, but fly me in. I do a better job.
That's so funny. Do you think they would put Costa and Kamzat in December? Derrick told you his boyfriend. Yeah, they're BFFs. I mean, that fight's really good fight, man. Honestly, Marcel, like I know Costa's really good, but I would still favor Hamzat though because of the grappling.
Me too.
Oh yeah, me too. I think the odds will favor him too. Not
even
by a lot,
even the special to juice will not help him here.
He won't be like minus 800 again, or whatever, but like he'll be a favorite, I think. Yeah, that was nasty, Joe. Like those elbows. I wish the referee stepped in a little sooner, quite frankly.
Yeah, two unnecessary ones.
Stupid. He had to go cold. I think a pay-per-view headline cost a rival sell a lot. I mean, yeah, I think so. I think he'll do well. Joe, what's up, man? Nunes Aldana, keep Brazil Mexico theme going. I would love to see that fight. Great fight. Yeah, and especially because she made Wayne. It wasn't at 135. It was at 140, but still, not her fault. It was the other girl that Macy. Yanez would be great. RoboCop Fluffy would be great too. I would watch all those fights. That would be awesome. Jorge's Burst Burns. I don't know if they're going to do that fight. I feel like Jorge just talks on Twitter now. He's almost like a keyboard warrior now. He doesn't fight anymore. Good morning. He doesn't have to. He's made so much money now. I don't even think he has to fight. Good morning, gentlemen from Shanghai. What's up, Georgia in Shanghai? Interesting. Yeah, this Yamato Nishikawa, I don't know who he is. And then I saw you tweet about him. 19 years old? The guy, he's been fighting since he's 13 years old. Is that correct?
Yeah, 13 or 14. He has 30 fights.
Is that right? He's been fighting since he was like in a high school. That's fucking crazy.
And he got 6 draws. And many people ask me why he has 6 draws. He fought for promotion.
Are they 2-round fights or something?
They have 2 or 3 rounds, but they have actually, if you don't finish, it's automatically drawn.
Okay, that's interesting. Romero Musasi.
Yeah, I like that fight a lot. Actually,
it's a good fight. I agree with that.
That makes sense
for sure. Let's get on. Let me get that comment from Glenn first. I want to look at your profile, your Instagram, I should say. Pimblett rumored on the December 10th card with Till. By the way, he's eating a lot of food. I don't know if you saw that thing with Connor. He was at Connor's like Black Forge Pub or whatever it's called, and he was just pigging out again. What bum will find up for him? I mean, he's gonna fight someone better, I think, than Jordan Levitt. But they might fucking just give him that Trey Ogden guy who lost to Jordan Levitt because he at least won. Actually, I could easily see that fight happening, Marcel. Could you see that happening? Like,
I mean, yeah, of course. They'll probably get him somebody who looks nice on paper, but isn't that great,
Give me some more lightweights that he can style on. Give me some guys.
Maybe they give him the winner of Matt Frivola against Azaitar, but Azaitar
fights the month before, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. That's not possible.
I don't think so. I mean, I thought they wanted to give him Matt steamroller like a while ago. Matt Favola called him out like years ago. They never ended up fighting.
Maybe they give him Hadzovic.
Timur Hadzovic is not good. The Figlak guy looked terrible in his last fight, but still promising prospect. Yeah, Farisian. That kind of makes sense. Maybe. I feel like they're giving someone even worse though, Marcel. Like someone that really can't win. Like if
They make Alan Abadowski cut to 155.
Get some guy with an 0-2 record. Eric the Ghost Pepper Gonzalez, Mike Breeden, someone like that.
Cameron Van Camp.
We're just looking at literally. Oh! No, I found the fight. I found the fight. You're gonna read my mind. You're gonna read my mind. Who is it? He's 0-3 in the UFC right now. He's been knocked out all 3 of his fights.
Oh shit! Lightweight.
He's my favorite fighter.
He's your favorite fighter.
Yeah.
Oh god.
We talk about it all the time. Sideshow Bob.
Oh, Antiveros.
That would be fun for the 2 minutes it lasts, though, wouldn't it? It'd be a lot of fun, I think.
With crazy high kicks, maybe he catches him.
I'm just looking at the roster, guys. I mean, there's a lot of guys he can beat at the bottom of the roster, but then you get to like the middle of the top, and it's like he struggles. I think a lot of these guys. Mm-hmm. That's a great question, Glenn. I mean, they're going to find someone they can beat. Charlie Altaveros.
Listen, man, without any hate, look at the rankings, the top 15 at lightweight. Who do you favor Paddy against?
Is Tony Ferguson still ranked or no?
Yeah, I think he is.
I think he could beat Tony.
Maybe they do that,
They could. I mean, but Tony's at welterweight now. Maybe I don't know, but I think I'm just saying that, and then Dan Hooker. That's the thing. What's fucking crazy? I said a few months ago, like, why not Paddy and Dan Hooker? Because Dan Hooker's come off a horrible loss to Earl now, and he is a good fighter, but he's on the decline a little bit. And people were saying I was crazy. Like, you're nuts. Like, what are you talking about? Like, now he's fighting Claudio Puelles, who has less experience and younger than Paddy. And Paddy can't hit that fight. I don't understand what people are talking about. Paddy's got a lot of experience. He's been in the sport for over 10 years now. I know the UFC's slow building him, but look at Molly McCann, guys. They're not going to slow build him forever in the UFC. They just fucking gave her Aaron Blanchfield. She's probably going to get destroyed.
Dude.
Okay? Like, they can't, because it's the UFC. It's not Bellator, guys. Yeah. It's not WWE. You want to see, they're looking for the next champion,
That's might be the most horrible fight they could give her, man.
I agree, but just say if she does win, it's also a lot of upside, because if she wins and beats the best prospect in the division, like, they probably give her a number contender fight, I would guess, after that, if she wins that fight, I would assume it just launches her up the rankings. You know what I mean? So, but Paddy, you could do the same thing. You give him, like I said, a Dan Hooker. You mentioned Ferguson. I don't think it's crazy. Ferguson's not good anymore. I think Paddy can win that fight, and yeah, I don't think they'll give it to him. I'm just saying, like, he can win that fight. Andrew, what's up, man? How's it going? You mentioned Nishikawa a few months back. He looks good. I mean, from what I've seen, but like, it's crazy. Like, when I was looking at his age, I'm like, holy crap, he's been fighting since 13. Cost excellent grappling underrated, outstruck Rocco. Yeah, no, for sure. He looked. I mean, that fight was really good. It was a high elevation, right? It was just a weird ass fight because of the elevation.
I love him saying Hawkle like he's a Brazilian.
Hawkle. Rumored Ali Asayev signing. Azamak. Wait, UFC signed him?
That's a rumor.
The guy from PFL?
Yeah.
Oh, who's Azamak Karamfov? Who's that?
He's also
ACA guy or something? Or?
Yeah, he's a pretty good fighter.
Nurulstin Rubizov, he's from, what promotion is he from? ACA?
I don't know.
John, you watch a lot of the European stuff. I know
I've heard about Ruzibov before. I think he fought at the other Russian promotion.
Fair enough. Yeah, the win over Rosa, I mean, he shouldn't have won that fight, I don't think.
Yeah,
I know. That fight is, you watched that one. It was close, but I think that Rosa, that's in the States, he wins. Who's Demir fighting next?
I want to know as well.
Are you sure he's even getting another fight in the UFC? Like, he looked so bad in his last fight.
I think he means Ismagulov.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant Hadzovic. Yeah, Ismagulov's obviously going to get someone good. He had that win, right? He beat Kutateladze.
Great fight.
I love saying that name, by the way. It's an awesome name. Adam Kutateladze. Imagine that was my last name, or like Marcel Kutateladze. That'd be awesome. Pat Even Miller. Yeah, Jim Miller. I mean, that I guess they could do that. I don't know, maybe. I don't know if Jim would take the fight. Maybe. But it seems like actually Jim fights anyone. I was thinking like he fought Cowboy, he fought Eric Gonzalez before that, Nicholas Mata, so I guess he would fight him. Carlos Mata is definitely gonna get signed. He's really good and he should be in the UFC. There's no doubt. Let's go to your page for a few more minutes, Marcel, and then we'll get out of here. And he's saying for RDA for Ismagulov. Sure, but is RDA take the fight? Probably not.
RDA only wanted to go great fight, have fun fights now.
Yeah, right? He's not taking that fight. All right, let's go through a few of these.
Last question. Put her also with the Brazilians.
I didn't see it. Oh, Natalia Silva. Yeah, another one of Marcel's favorites. Added to Tabitha Ricci and
They're all Brazilians for some reason.
or Mackenzie Dern, like a fake Brazilian. Just kidding. Let's go to these fights. Lunar Lizez against Gabriel Bonfim. I mean, listen, Lizez's experience and he's fighting this guy that looked amazing contender. Like, it's in Brazil. I would assume the UFC thinks this guy can win, right?
I feel like they're punishing Lizez for his post-fight interview
right?
last time. Yeah.
But that guy, whatever, like, I remember that thing, the whole, God, what's the guy's name again? The guy, the accused.
Killahan, or what's
Daniel Kinrahan. Daniel Kinrahan. Good call. Yeah. That's what his name was. But the reporter was going, like, really, like, he was on the stand.
A little bit overdoing it.
Yeah, it's like he's on trial or something. Like, geez, man. He just had a fight, dude. Like, definitely a good question to ask, but, like, he was really, like hounding the dude. And the guy's like, man, I just want to talk about my fight. Like, it's like, dude, the guy was just in the cage for 50 minutes. Like, let's yeah, it wasn't the right thing to talk about, Marcel. I'm just saying, like, you gotta, like, think about, like, what's going on too, So
yeah,
he thinks Lizez is banned in the States. It could be, right? Because Tommy Fury, I think, right? Is that the guy that can't get in? Tommy Fury?
it's possible. Yeah, I don't know. It's possible.
He's saying Lizez could have been on the Abu Dhabi card. Yeah, they should have did 2 cards. Like, they really should have. We talked about this already. Ridiculous they didn't. Chris Joaquin Buckley, love the fight. Such a good fight. Someone probably getting finished. And you know what? I'm really glad Buckley's getting another ranked guy because I know he lost to Imavov, but man, like, it was one of those losses where, like, he did well in the loss. You know what I mean? Like, that third round was almost came back and won. So that was good. Yeah, Lewis Spivac. So I don't really like this fight too much, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess we'll just see how shot Derrick Lewis is at this point, Marcel.
Yeah, I don't like that as a main event, by the way. When I saw that, terrible. I was like, I was actually watching TV and then I saw this one coming by. Yeah. I was like, oh, they're giving Derrick Lewis a 3-rounder this time. Okay. And that's like 5 rounds. I was like, dude, they really made this a main event. Really not looking forward to this one at all, to be honest.
You know what? Derrick can win this fight. I think people are going to count him out, but I think he can win. Right? Like, why can't he win? He can knock him out.
It's possible, it's definitely possible. But why did this has to be a main event? And why the hell did I put the ranking by the Twitter by Serghei?
Yeah, it should be 3 rounds. Yeah, it should be 3 rounds. Yeah, this is that initial comment guys talking about Mr. Fight. We saw a really good fighter who doesn't fight that often. He's the guy with that crazy head kick on spinning back kick on Rafael Fiziev. Yeah. Remember that knockout? That was nasty.
His debut from Fiziev.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. It was a great knockout. I guess you have to lean towards the young guy. They're not doing this guy any favors with this crazy young prospect, right?
Look at his Twitter name.
Oh my! What the fuck is that? Weird ass Twitter. Jeff Lee, you told me about this one. Mm-hmm. You broke this news, right? Yeah. Nice. Love the fight. Jimmy Flick's really good. It's just kind of weird. Like, the guy was complaining about fighter pay and like how they don't get benefits in the 401k, and then he's back a year later. Clearly needed money, and I don't blame him. Right? He's a very talented fighter. Jeff Lee is good, but I gotta be honest. First, that fight with Zhumagulov, man, I don't think he looked good at all in that fight, and I'm just not sure how good he is anymore, honestly. And Flick's a dangerous dude, man. What do you think?
When you heard 30-27 in that fight, Zhumagulov Molina, I was sure Zhumagulov won.
I'm not surprised El Jefe won. I mean, I bet on him. I'm glad he won, but 30-27 was insane, and it was one of the worst scorecards. We have these all the time, though. We just talked about like 2 of them on the Bellator thing. Flick retired. I see the last question. Flick retired because he was asking about, or he mentioned like fighter pay and benefits and things that he wasn't getting. So we got a couple other questions here. You guys know if Magomed Mustafa has a visa issue? I think so, because he's only been booked for the last card in Abu Dhabi, and then who's the guy that? Oh, Damir Ismagulov, right? Wasn't he the guy that missed weight for that fight? Damir missed weight, and this guy made weight and had to wait another year to fight. That's so fucked. I feel bad for the guy, but he can't fight anywhere else. Probably they probably can't get him a fight anywhere except for Abu Dhabi. He probably has some visa issues, and a lot of these guys, let's be honest, Marcel, they have some. I'm not saying in this case. I don't know, I have no idea. But I think we both know, Marcel, a lot of fighters do have criminal backgrounds. I think it's something people don't want to talk about, but there's a lot of fighters that have records, and it's hard for them to travel, So I'm not saying it's the case with him. I think it's probably because he's Russian, right? But there's, Marcel, I think we both know. It's kind of like MMA's dirty little secret, Imagine how it would be crazy it would be if Lazy King makes his debut. I mean, he should be in the UFC, but for some reason they don't want to sign him. Only reason Spivac got Lewis because Romanov got wrong against Tibura. Let's not forget Spivac got dominated Tibura and Romanov wrong. Okay, that's a lot of MMA math in one little message there, my friend. Lewis should win. I think he can win. I like Spivac a lot, but Lewis has decent grappling defense now, and Spivac's not really a knockout artist, so it's an interesting fight. I don't think it's easy as people are saying because everyone talking to you is like Spivac rolls him, and I don't know. I'm kind of hoping Lewis is a big underdog. He's like plus 200. That'd be really nice because I think he can win that fight. I really do. I'm not saying he's going to, but I think he can. So I'll be curious to see the odds for that one. I have no pick at this point. There's room to be on that same card. Okay, that'd be good. I hope he gets the main event. He deserves it. Umar and Kakamara would be an interesting fight. Demir versus RDA Turner. Those are all good fights. Don't know if the Evlov Bryce fight's made, but I don't think it is. Right?
No, 3-rounder. Did what is there a main event already for that? I think not. I think they probably gonna Marina Rodriguez and Amanda Lemos. If they don't get anything else, they would put that main event, I think.
Fair enough. Who's replacing Short Fight Phillips? I'm not sure.
Nobody yet.
Just a couple more and we'll get out of here. This is a great fight, Magny and Rodriguez. This fight's coming up soon. I'm surprised that D-Rod's fighting so soon, man, because after, I don't know if you saw that video, he was saying like, "Oh, I got rocked so bad in that fight." Like, I'm surprised he's fighting like a month later. The fight with Lee was, I guess, more brutal than we realized. Minner and Shaylin. I mean, both guys. Well, Shaylin's actually did better than I thought in the UFC. Minner probably has to win this fight to stay on the roster. Duraev and Alexejak, excuse me, I always say his name wrong. Alexejak. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I mean, he looked amazing against San Alvi, but
yeah.
Duraev is interesting too. He's kind of up and down. They rebooked this fight. I think we talked about. I don't know if we talked about those ones. No, that's it. That's all. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Get out of here. All right. Yeah, I think that was all I wanted to talk about. If there's any other questions, we'll get them, guys, and we're gonna get out of here in a second. UFC wanted Blades Pavlovich, but Blades wanted to wait for Gone. Okay, that's interesting. It's interesting. Is Suo going to be eligible soon? You guys who might get? No, that's a good question, Glenn. Great question. Do they just give him the title shot?
I don't hope so, but probably if he comes back, they do.
Yeah, it really depends because like if Sean O'Malley beats Peter Yan, he probably gets it. It's just there's a lot of like we have to wait for that card to 280. Like there's just so many bantamweight fights. But I think Blades gets Gone. Probably because I mean they're both free. It makes sense. Magny's known for hurting people. D-Rod probably confident. I guess. I mean I wouldn't be that confident. I love D-Rod, but Magny's a different fight. It's a harder fight in my opinion than a lot of the guys he's been fighting. Thanks, Andrew, for being here, buddy. Appreciate it. It's a good question. Aid Loco, we were talking about this. The signing 5 guys a card, Marcel. I mean, again, they're gonna run out of room on the roster. They're gonna have to cut people. So I don't mind them like bringing in new blood, but I feel like sometimes they sign too many fighters. So, but last week I think all 5 deserved it. I have no problem with that.
They can put on.
Go ahead. Sorry.
They can put on more events.
Yeah, do more contenders or you're saying more UFC like fight nights or something? Oh god, they're gonna do like 100 a year. Pantoja fights Kaiker France. That'd be a good fight. Should be, right? Not more contender for me. Well,
I think Pantoja did enough to get.
He's probably just gonna be the backup.
Yeah.
The Slim Ali Fernand thing. I think there's some stories about that out there. If you guys want to read, I don't know a ton, but I know there's some documentation and stuff.
Yeah.
Some guys have done interviews. I'm talked out, Marcel. 2 hours of talking.
Me too. I'm tired.
I know. So am I. All right, plug your stuff, buddy. Let's get out of here. Last time.
Yeah, Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram, and Eurosport.nl mixed martial arts section.
Thanks for checking out the podcast again, guys. Appreciate it. All the regulars and new people. You guys can follow me on Twitter at @Martin Podcast, amyontrigger.com. It's on our iTunes, Spotify, everywhere your podcast, YouTube, obviously. You guys know that. So like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Also find me at miaminews.com, bookies.com, and my best bets of tomorrow. Definitely check that out. I think there's a couple other comments. Okay, this is the last comments I'll take, guys, and then we're gonna get out of here. Yeah, Glenn, $10,000, not paying them much, right? Abasov should be in USD instead of the lightweight guy. Yeah, there's a couple guys that this. I think honestly, of all the guys in Loco, they've signed how many? Like 40 guys, maybe 50, about 40 so far. There's probably like only honestly like 5 that I wouldn't agree with. Like I think Dana got most of them right. There's a few that I think should have did more. There was remember that one girl that had lost she was losing the whole fight and then came back and kind of won, like the Russian. So like maybe that was someone.
Haley Cohen.
Yeah, there's a few, but I think he did well. Anyways, I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern, to recap UFC Vegas 61, and then is that or we have a week off again?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back next Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Bye, guys.